Just anybody that's kind of stood out. Maybe there's some guys who haven't been playing a whole lot this season in these practices.
Jakob and Kenny Bynum both played quite a hefty bit versus Vanderbilt, and I thought both of them did a pretty good job. Just got to keep young guys get more reps. The Cortez and McDowells of the world, and Justin King. Justin King is going to have a role, especially with with all the big personnel they run. He has to come up and has to do some things for us to give Kurt Majid a relief.
How helpful is this experience for a guy like Jakob, who kind of was pressed on duty the last couple of games? Now he has a little more time to get.
This one here plays up right to his skill set. Last week, a couple weeks ago with the Vanderbilt game, they were big personnels and everything was kept inside the box. So this team here is reminds us a lot about formations and the adjustments that we had to make against Vanderbilt. And the things, all the run game inside with the big backs and the big man's game, again, it plays right to his skill set.
How big are these practices for him overall?
Huge. Because it was more reps. Every day him and Kenny are able to get out there and speak the verbiage and set the fronts and get the adjustments. We can't do that enough. The fact that we get 15 more practices gives guys like Kenny and Justin and Cortez, guys who haven't been in the fire, a chance to go out and help us out for the bowl game.
Is there anyone who you've already faced that kind of reminds you of Iowa?
Vanderbilt, it's Vanderbilt. A lot of two-back run games. A little bit of Alabama when they decide to line up with two backs. It's a downhill running game, but it's Vanderbilt for the most part. The two backs with we call 12 personnel as well as 21 personnel, inside zone, outside zone. Those are the things that the Big Ten is made of. When you watch them on tape, their downhill running game is as good as anyone we face.
So how helpful was it just to have faced Vanderbilt and get these young guys?
Really valuable because we don't see much of that. You see so much sub personnel with only two linebackers in the game and a ton of nickel. So this one here, against Vanderbilt, we were able to play a lot of base, and that was a majority of the game. And this game is almost a direct mirror of the Vanderbilt game.
With AJ kind of being the guy in the middle for so long, is it good to see real competition between Jakob and Kenny?
Yeah, very, because I thought Kenny came in the latter part of the game and provided a great relief for us. He was able to match up guys that Jakob wasn't able to do in the latter part of that game. I think Jakob got a little bit fatigued. But the fact that both of them can help us and finish the game is valuable for our football team.
Is that something you're going to let him play out until the bowl game?
You're directly correct. The best man to win. And whoever practices the best is not a starter at that position. At the end of that game, I thought Kenny did a great job. And I watched the beginning of it. I thought Jakob did a great job against Vanderbilt. So the position is open.
What do you think benefits most from a month to prepare the offenses or the defenses in a game like this?
For the most part, it's going to be for us on defense because we don't have many reps against the personnel that they bring into the game. We don't see much of what they do. It's as good a downhill run team that you're going to face, and they're going to run it. Their run game again is kind of mirrors what Vanderbilt does, and a lot of what Alabama does when they decide to just line up and run the ball downhill, and as well as Georgia. And you just don't see it. Like 80% of the game that we see is nickel and sub. And this team is like almost 70%, 80% what we call base personnel.
You've coached in the Big Ten. What do you think of the perception that Big Ten teams are power? It's a power conference.
That's what it is.
SEC is a speed conference.
But they have a combination of both. They have a running back that we think he's as downhill as they come, and they do a good job of bringing the kid number 5 in the game to give you relief for the outside perimeter game. And then they throw the ball deep and try to throw it over your head. But it's totally different than what we've been seeing because, again, we see so much sub, with the Ole Misses of the world, the Kentuckys, spread you out and make you play in space. In this game, it's about run fitting, alignments, assignments, and each guy doing his job.
You mentioned Kurt Majid earlier, basically. How did you see him just evolve with that hybrid position you guys have for him this year?
Yeah, he did it. For a guy that's not in the room as much, really, he did really well, considering that he's a defensive end as well as a linebacker. In certain packages, he come in as a linebacker, and then when they jump back into the small personnel, he goes back to defensive end. And that's a hard thing to do, the fact that he's able to click both off and understand when he's playing linebacker and the responsibilities that go with that, and then turn around and play defensive end, which is a whole different skill set. For a guy to do what he's doing, it gives him a lot of flexibility as somebody who's ever looking for a 4-3 type, 3-4 type of guy. He's shown that he can do both.
How did you guys kind of plan that out at the beginning of the year?
He refused to. He never wanted to be called a defensive end. He wanted to be a linebacker, and the whole thing we was telling him was it's really we're a 2 linebacker scheme and sub, and the fact you don't want to put him out in space. That's where the reason Maven comes in at. But he really provided us a great a pass rushing. That's what he does best than anything is coming off the edge, and he proved his value of playing Sam linebacker as well as a defensive end.
You mentioned him not being in the room very much. How did you guys plan out his week? I mean, how did you guys determine?
He'd come in. He come in when on base when we were watching tape. You had to divide it. So if an hour was dedicated to the meeting room, if 30 minutes were a sub, he'd be in the defensive end room. Then he'd switch. So we had to always coordinate with the defense line and linebackers to the time allotted where we were going to watch tape, and then we had somebody go get him when we start talking linebacker play. So we had to divide the teaching sessions up versus sub first, and then let him go defensive end, switch it, go base work, and then bring him in for his run fences and adjustments.
What is it about him, I guess, physically and mentally that allowed him to do that? I mean, in terms
It had to be really, really smart to do what he does because, again, there's a ton of alignments and linebackers. And so he's got a really good memory. I mean, the fact that some guys do this for 2-3 years and it takes them a while to pick up on the alignments, but he's able to do it in 30 minutes, which tells you the kind of mentality that Kurt has.
His numbers obviously picked up late, especially the sacks and everything like that. Is that just because he kind of really put it all together in the last half of the year?
I think he's getting healthy now. I think before, as the season kept going along, I think the knee he wasn't so sure about the knee, the shoulder, the toe. He had a lot of things that was going on. And he needed everything to be perfect. So as the season kept going, he got stronger and stronger and played with more and more confidence. And he played big. He plays with like a big linebacker and a big defensive end. And so his confidence level went up as the more and more healthy he became.
Sorry if you've already been asked, with the Vandy game, Jakob and Bynum both
Yeah.
playing there, what have you seen from those guys, and is that a competition, I guess?
Yeah, it's comp, man, because, both of them played, and I thought in the end, I thought Kenny did a great job of coming in the game and spelled Jakob at the end of the game. They were running a lot of routes, deep routes, and I thought Kenny matched it up really well. And I thought Jakob at the end got a little bit fatigued. So we rotated both those guys, and Kenny finished it. And I thought he did a good job. So the way to go is the best man for the next 15 practices. Whoever gets the hot hand and whoever does the best job the next few weeks in practice, that'll be the guy to be the starter.
Aside from being